evening, everyone.
All right, we love it when you're
Morning.
part of the conversation. So let us know what your thoughts are. The WhatsApp number is 0809 4440981. You can also tweet at Smooth981. And we're streaming the show live as well off our YouTube channel. Just search for Smooth981 on YouTube, catch the live stream, post a comment underneath, and subscribe. So we're talking about technology and the next administration.
Yeah, so we are hopeful, optimistic that whoever comes in will, make technology top of the line. The Startup Act, it has been signed, but it has not been implemented yet. There's, of course, the elections tomorrow, hoping that the technology does not fail us. So I don't know. Does everybody have their PVC? Zibby, are you ready? Where's Miriam? Does everybody have their PVC? Fisayo, are you all set?
We are ready to go to the polls.
I'm ready. I'm traveling today. I'm voting in Ogun State, so I'm traveling today.
Why did you choose to go to Ogun State?
Okay. The reason was that prior to now, I felt that my vote doesn't count in Lagos because nothing changes. Do you get? That the APC was going to win irrespective of how I voted, right? So I felt that the only state where I'm from, Ogun State one, and of course, Ogun State has proven over and over again that they can change governors, they can change parties, they can switch all of that. Lagos is probably one of the few states that have not necessarily, moved from one party to another since '99.
River State
right?
as
So
well. There are a few actually.
Yeah. So I felt, why enable this? Let me just vote in place where I know that, yes, actually vote counts and, my vote can change government really, right? Because I've done it before and I can do it again. But in Lagos, I'm not sure. So I just moved on.
Well, safe travels, man. Safe travels. And it's beautiful to have everybody voting tomorrow. So I don't know. How do we feel about this Beavers machine that we're going to be using tomorrow? Are we confident about although I heard the Beavers machine is pretty cool. It has a front-facing camera, so it will take a picture of the INEC official, and it's got a camera, it's like a phone. It has a camera on the back to take a picture of the voter. If internet fails, it has a fail-safe in case the internet isn't working, it can still upload the voter information. There's a back end where INEC can take a look at the voter information that's uploaded. So once Fisayo goes to Ogun State and he votes, they'll take a picture of him and it will upload on the back end that Fisayo Durojiaye has voted, and INEC in their control room will see it. So I'm optimistic. Sure. I don't know. How do you guys feel? How do you you nervous?
I'm optimistic as well. Let's see how that goes. So because right now, people are, from the way the current voting system is designed, it's almost designed as in a way that you cannot overvote, right? Because before you vote, there's an accreditation process where you take your voter's card and it's accredited via the Beavers machine. So we know exactly the number of voters that should vote. At least the number of people that have been accredited is known, right? If the presiding agent, because what happened, so I remember when I was presiding officer, when I was serving in Umuahia in Abia State, right? I think that was in 2015 or one of those elections. What had happened is that all of the agents came to me as the presiding officer then, like, Fisayo, give us the ballot papers. We've all agreed that we're voting for this particular candidate. All of the agents. So you can imagine agents that are meant to show up and defend their parties, agree with the agents of the other political parties that, yes, we have all decided that just give us the remaining ballot papers. I said, no, that what I can do for them is that accreditation has finished. Go and call your people, I will accredit them, and they will vote. So they got so angry that it was soldiers that took me away from that place eventually.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
But in this case of Beavers, right, that kind of scenario is not possible because if you've been accredited as voter, that number is literally recorded and cannot be, mutated or mutilated as it were. if the number of vote cast in that polling unit is higher than the number of accredited voters, then of course that it means that there's something as overvoting in that polling unit, which I think the result of that polling unit will probably be cancelled or be redone, something like that, right? And that is one thing. So even if they gave you more ballot papers than you should have, right? Because you have to physically accredit a voter using the card. If the voter's card, or I think you can also accredit a voter using some other means. I don't know, but once that is done, the number of accredited voters in that unit is known. The number of vote cast cannot be passed. Cannot be more than that number of accredited voters, which I think is very good. So I guess the next thing is going to be for party agents, for party officials to ensure that yes, they ensure that there are people come out to voters, number one. And then the other thing that can be done is maybe influence voters in a certain direction, right? So people can buy votes, especially in rural areas. I know the government is trying to prevent vote buying in major areas, but and they go to what's it called, Zukum, somewhere in Taraba, how many soldiers will be there to prevent vote buying? So again, that's what happens in rural areas, a lot of times. So when those things happen so voters can still be influenced so those things can be done in very many rural areas. But again, how many votes can be bought, really, and how many, because we can't just bring results from anywhere. So that has been, taken care of. It means that you have to induce voters with money, right? And of course, how many votes can you really buy? 1,000 naira per vote. If you buy 1 million votes, how much are you really willing to spend on votes? I think it's going to be going to be too expensive to pull off, and of course for that to then make a significant dent on the overall outcome of the election, right? So again, we are hopeful that yes, technology doesn't fail us. We are hopeful that everything will work out as planned. We're hopeful that there are no violence because of the improved security situation. We are hopeful that yes, results are then properly collated and announced, and everyone is happy, with the eventual outcome.
We hope so. Zibby, are you optimistic? How are you feeling?
I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
I certainly am. There've been some test runs, and there were some reports that were positive, and a few snags here and there. But I think they've had enough time, possibly, to work through whatever challenges might be ongoing. I'm more concerned about security than technology at this point. I think on the tech part, we're looking good.
I want to vote on my phone. I know the constitution doesn't allow it. I know there's network challenges and all that. I just want to stay at home and vote on my mobile phone, upload it, and let it just be done. But anyway, that one is a dream. Fisayo, the Startup Act, you think it will get moving in the next administration?
Well, I don't think so. I think that I think that the next administration will have its own, real priorities, right? If the current administration does not do anything about it, again, you see, the president is now a lame duck, as it were, right? Where governors can say that, well, the old naira is illegal tender in my own state. These are things that these governors couldn't do before, right? But they know that worst case scenario, you have 4 months left, right? And you can. In fact, I think one of the former governors was quoted that said that Nigerians keep on using naira notes, that Buhari will be irrelevant after the election. Again, these are statements that people are making. So if the president even wants to implement, they're like, okay, you are going in May 29, right? There is nothing you can do. So just be paying salary and just move. There is really no policy change that you can effect between now and that time. Nobody's going to listen to you because everyone is preparing for the next person. Right, and sucking up to who likely win. But once even the winner is known by next week, is the new bride, right? The current president is like, okay, like call for meeting. Okay, we are coming. Let's go and let's go and meet the incoming, right? So again, that's the unfortunate situation that we are having, right? And it happens to every president, right? So Barack Obama, everyone. Once you're not contesting again or you've lost the election, everybody sucks up to the next guy coming in, right? And that's what is happening to the president. I can imagine the president saying that, okay, don't use this naira note again, like keep on using it. That's not, because they know he's not contested for a second time. They know he can't do anything to them again, right? So for the Startup Act specifically, right? I don't know. It was his administration, the Pantami, and startup companies that worked on that together, right? And see, I mean, to pull that off, right? If they don't do anything themselves, because for some reason or the other, I think it's going to affect everyone involved. But because it's now a law, essentially, right? I think it is government is the continuum. So you have the responsibility of implementing what essentially is a law, right? So maybe that will force someone to look and think about it. But there's really no guarantee, because again, maybe someone else might have a different idea around how to improve the startup ecosystem, right? And of course, say, okay, we're going to change the law here, edit the law here, do that. So we're going to represent to the House of Assembly, to the new assembly. Again, they might have to start the process all over again. So again, it's what it is. But we're just hopeful.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Well, so much. What else did I remember? Okay, IREV. I know IREV. Okay, some part of Viva that allows what's the INEC results viewing portal or something. So the same thing allows the INEC to just view the results as they come in, right? So we're working in hand with Vivas.
Yes. So because it's digitally, once the results are digitally uploaded, it means they can be viewed, right? So that's just the point about results viewing. So nobody can say we are winning here when they're just trying to foment trouble. No, everybody can see as everything is going on from every polling unit, as they've been uploaded and then being summed up and then built up. So the result is being built up gradually. I don't know how the INEC chairman will want to announce results here, because it's been digitally collated and of course summed. All the drama or the theatrics we normally have during that the INEC chairman will come on live TV and the counting and the resident electoral commissioner to travel, and then they'll be using a calculator to hold them together, and they will be announcing results one after the other. All those theatrics, I don't think it would be necessary. But again, I think it's good for everyone just to follow the drama, all of that. Again, but it's what it is, right? So we just, again, I'm just hopeful for the best. Like Zibby said, security after the election. I think people are more concerned about that. But again, I have a theory. I think that Nigeria has a strong build up to elections, and after the election is always an anticlimax, right?
Yeah.
I think anything that should happen would have happened before the election, right? But once the results are announced, everybody just realigned. But again, this is the first time we're having a truly, a true third force or a 3-horse race. We've only had 2 horse races since '99 up until today. But this is the first time. So the uncertainty around this election is also very higher. It's higher compared to what we've had in previous elections. So again, we'll see how that goes and how that plays out. But my vote, is going to be among the votes that will be counted in this election.
Amen to that.
All right, let's take a few messages. We're out of time. Oganel Chuku says Beavers is technology driven. Hope it will pave the way for the incoming to make use of technology in solving insecurity, agriculture, etc. And Gilbert says the startup bill is a good idea, but we should investigate the reasons SMEs with good products in the 1980s and the 90s failed. Thank you for your messages. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Rotus, and thank you, Fisayo, as well.
Thank you so much. Everybody be safe. And by the time we speak on Monday, we'll hopefully have a new president. You guys, Fisayo, thanks. Guys, take it easy.
All right, do stay with us. There is a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast.
Brought to you by
Bye.
Transaction Solutions.